If you are here, it's because you're interested in traveling the world and experiencing another culture. But being an au pair is more than that. It's a real authentic experience, meaning you will not have the fun of mixing with the locals, but the responsibility to fit into the local culture. Becoming an au pair is an incredible opportunity to combine safe, affordable travel with one of the most fun jobs you can have, working with children. An au pair is an overseas domestic helper who lives with a host family. An au pair literally means on par or equal to in French, indicating that they help parents to cover the responsibility of running a household, especially with caring for children and some light housework. Au pairs are not nannies or paid housekeepers. Rather, they are considered a member of the family during their stay and enjoy the benefits of creating a relationship with their host family while learning about a new culture in a foreign country. As an au pair, you will also be responsible for the basic needs of the children and the running of the household. Apart from interacting and playing with kids, helping with baths and meal times, homework, picking up, and taking to school and outings, you will be responsible for some cooking, laundry, tidying up toys, and cleaning up kids' areas. When making a decision on choosing a family, you should have a clear understanding of what your expected role is, and it shouldn't include any of these. If it does, it might mean the family are not treating like a helper for the children, but rather housekeeper jobs. Babysitting at nights is okay as long as you are okay with this and have agreed on this as over and above your normal au pair hours. Remember, it's important that you get time out too. If you answered yes to all of these questions, congratulations! Looks like you might be suited to becoming an au pair. Why do an increasing number of families choose to have an au pair? Increasing trend. Less stressful environment for small children. Suits working parents' schedule. Relatively low cost for the family. Flexible hours. Helping hand in the house. Why become an au pair? Being an au pair gives you a chance to form relationships with people you wouldn't have otherwise met. Enjoy the benefits of traveling whilst being somewhere safe where you feel at home. Your host family will be able to show you the best places to see and things to do that only a local would know. You won't feel like a tourist. Lifelong bonds with your host children and family. As an au pair, you will have a safe and comfortable place to call home. You won't need to buy all the things you would if you simply rented a room. Things like furniture, bed linen, towels, cooking equipment, television, cleaning products. This can save you a lot of money if you want to travel. No filthy youth hostels or expensive hotels. Every au pair enjoys the privacy of a clean, private room in the home of your host family. Host families know you want to have fun and should encourage you to do this. With a set routine of work hours, you will be able to schedule plenty of time to meet people your own age. There are also many Facebook groups and other ways to find people online where you will be able to find and meet other au pairs living near you. Make friends with other au pairs from all over the world. Improve your language skills. The best way to learn a language is to be immersed in it. Being an au pair and speaking with your host family and friends is a great way to learn the local language quickly. For the most part, you will eat meals with your host family and eat for free. This can save you a lot of money. Most families will have internet access, but be mindful of your usage and don't download music or videos, etc. without host family's consent. Please bear in mind that in many places, households are on a package for data usage, so limited downloads and internet usage is not a guarantee. However, your host family should provide you with internet access for Skype and email to use when you're not working. If this service is available, bring a laptop or iPad with you on your travels. You have the opportunity to travel with your host family. Often families will pay your way on holidays in exchange for help with the kids, so you will have a chance to see new and exciting places, all expenses paid. Anything you choose to do in that place that is not within the hours with your family, you should expect to pay for. The au pair allowance may seem low at first, but when you consider that you have no bills to pay and that your money is all your own, it can actually go a long way by spending wisely. You should be able to see a lot on your au pair pocket money. Au pair looks great on your CV and helps with future jobs. Especially with a sitter-trained certificate in hand, employers will look at you as someone who is independent, responsible, and willing to engage in new experiences. Discover yourself. Living for a year abroad may allow you to find your true passions. helping you decide what you want to do when you return to your home country. The truth is, au pairing can be hard work. There may be long hours involved, and some of the work is far from glamorous, thinking changing nappies and cleaning up kid messes. If you are visualizing just sitting by the pool or local beach soaking up the sun whilst the kids splash around, think again. As any parent will tell you, taking care of kids involves much more than just playing games and hanging out with the kids. Children need lots of attention both physically and emotionally, and this takes a lot of energy. You will need to be the big sister or brother in a host family, which means being responsible and able to manage the kids' basic and emotional needs. Families want someone on their side, another adult in the house, not a moody and unreliable teenager. Parents will want to deal with someone respectful of their home and belongings, who has the maturity to handle the challenges of raising children. Families will expect that you make your bed and keep your room tidy. You will need to wash your own bed linens and towels regularly. You will need to play by the rules of the house in order to get the benefit of living in a household. Many au pairs are required to take kids to and from school. You must be on time always, as late arrivals and pickups at school are unacceptable. You should be familiar with your family's school hours, regulations, and holiday schedules. You should be aware of whether your family is in a parochial school, religious, or a private, non-religious, or public school, and what expectations for learning each school has. Many au pairs also are expected to help children with their homework on a regular basis. If this doesn't sound like you may need to think again about life as an au pair. What you shouldn't be responsible for is all the housework. What you are is an extra pair of hands to help the household run smoothly. Obviously, your main responsibility will be to look after the children, but you will also be responsible for keeping children's areas and your own clean, and you will likely be asked to help with dishes, laundry, and bathing. For example, encourage the children to be part of this responsibility by taking dishes to the kitchen, helping tidy toys, etc. But ultimately, it will be your responsibility to make sure it's done. At times, you may be asked to do work around the house outside of the children's needs, which contribute to the upkeep of the rest of the house. Particularly if kids are at school or daycare and you are working the average of around 30 hours per week. If you do find that your house parents are asking you to do tasks which are not part of the running of the general household or are taking you outside of the hours you have agreed upon, you should sit down to talk to your host family or seek advice from your agency. Taking on the job of an au pair is one of the most responsible jobs you will ever have. Parents are leaving their most precious assets to you, and so it is a job you should take very seriously. It is essential you think very carefully about whether you are suited to being an au pair. When an au pair situation doesn't work out, it can cause a huge disruption to the children's lives and the family, who will have been counting on your help for many months. When you have a bad day at work in a regular job, you can go home and try to forget about it. But when you're au pairing, your workplace is your home, so that can be tough. You sacrifice some of your independence and comfort when living in someone else's home. While you are definitely entitled to your own privacy and quiet time, most host families expect you to be a part of the family. Of course, shutting your doors serves the purpose of gaining some privacy and blocking out noise, but it can also be perceived as a wall between you and the family. That means you shouldn't lock yourself in a room all the time or stop communicating with the family when you're not on the clock working. Kids especially won't understand that it is your time off, so you will need to communicate it. A simple, "I'm going off to call my friend now, good night," or "I've had a great day, but I'm tired, so I'm having an early night," sends the message that you are open and communicative, but would like some well-deserved time out. You could also put a sign to indicate if you welcome company, or if you want to be left alone, sleep, relax, or call friends. Do you live off of coffee and donuts? Are you vegan? Do you have bags of chips and chocolate under your bed for midnight snacking? For the most part, families with children are health conscious. They don't want someone providing a bad example to their children with their eating habits. You'll have to accept that you'll have less control over your diet as an au pair. Families usually cook things that the kids will like to eat, so you may end up eating a lot of kid-friendly food at mealtimes earlier than you're used to. You are always welcome to cook your own meals, but your shopping lists should not be too far over and above if you expect them to pay. If you have special dietary conditions, be sure to let your host family know before you arrive. In general, your host family will expect you to eat with them and also help to prepare and clean up after. This is not part of your working hours, just part of living with a family. Be respectful of how much groceries cost in your local area, and do your best to set a good example by not wasting food or eating unhealthy junk food. Likewise, remember the food is there for you when you are living and working with the host family, and not for you to load up for a weekend getaway with your friends. If you are a junk food junkie, discuss with the host family where you should store your food and make good choices about when it is appropriate to eat. Chances are, most families won't want the kids to see you eating lots of unhealthy snacks, lollies, or fast food. Reasonable expectations: to clean the kitchen after you have used it. This includes wiping the chopping board, kitchen bench, and/or table. Wash your dishes or put it in the dishwasher. If the dishwasher is full of dirty dishes, empty and turn it on, and if it's full of clean ones, put them away. Unlike living by yourself or with friends, you can't turn up the music to full volume. Raid the fridge, have all your friends over, or have a girl or boyfriend to sleep over, as you would if it was your own apartment. Host families expect you to live within the family rules. This means definitely no intimacy in the bedroom. If you would like to invite another au pair or friend over, make sure you ask your host parents first and explain to them exactly how long they will be staying for and if they are okay with this. If you would like another au pair or friend to stay over on the odd occasion, again, ask your host family in advance. Here are some reasonable rules, expectations, but each family is different, and you should clarify with them first. On the nights prior to looking after the children, we recommend not to come home later than 11 p.m. to ensure you are all rested for the day. With them, looking after children when tired and or hungover is really hard. Speaking from experience, if you are in a family home and the routines and needs of young children have to come first, we would suggest not to have guests in the house later than 10 p.m. without discussing this in advance. You should also always introduce your friends to the family. When you come home late, try to be as quiet as possible, especially if your room is so close to the children. The rules for the way your bedroom looks at home are possibly not the same as living with a host family. Whilst this is yours, you could attract ants and cockroaches who love au pairs' bedrooms full of hearty meals. Kids are usually early to bed and early to rise. Having a long sleep might be something of the past, especially if you need to get yourself ready before helping the children in the morning. Most good host families make your on and off time very clear, so that you are able to relax. If you and the host parents agree, your room can be off limits to the kids. However, be considerate as a member of the family. There may be times when the parents need you to jump in even if it is your time off. Finding the right balance between privacy and being part of the family is one of the greatest challenges and rewards of being an au pair. When arriving in a new country, especially when the spoken language is different than your own, it is easy to experience culture shock. Different customs make fitting into a new culture difficult at first, even if you have had experience working with children as a babysitter, in a child care setting, camp, or looking after your own siblings. This will be completely different. However, we are sure your host family will be excited to welcome you, support you, and help you with your adjustment period. If you don't understand some of the local vocabulary of customs, ask. Most people will be happy to chat with you, ask about where you are from, and answer any questions you have. Every au pair goes through an adjustment period, where they ask themselves if this experience was a mistake. Missing home, family, friends, familiar environment is a natural feeling when traveling abroad. Try to reach out to make other au pair friends through local Au Pair Connect Facebook groups or other local backpacker connections and get out there. Once you have your feet on the ground, you will feel much better. Being able to phone via internet also make keeping in touch with loved ones at home very easy. Social media is at our fingertips, but if you want to feel connected to where you are, you may also want to use it to connect to new people, not just back home. Only thing is, these are great nights to get out and meet other people. Experience tells us that stopping communication with loved ones at home or too much communication can make you feel isolated and runs a greater risk of feeling homesick. The key to success is creating a balance. Some families will give you a curfew or time to be home at night. What, you ask? These are not my parents. Well, no they are not, but you are living with them, and you need to pay by the rules of their house. Even if a family doesn't impose a curfew time on you, make sure to respect the important job you are doing and be home at a reasonable hour on the nights before you work. You must never be late at work, nor should you be too tired to complete the job satisfactorily if they expect you to be up in the morning looking after the kids. You should also be mindful in the nights you are out late and not wake the parents when you arrive home. Be sensitive to the fact that most parents will have a sense of responsibility of your whereabouts when you are living with them. Be respectful of this and let them know who you are going with. Provide an extra contact number in case they are worried, the approximate time you are expecting to be home, and send a text message to let them know if you are delayed or out later than expected. All kids like to push the limits. If you invest time and show the kids that you care about them, they usually behave well. But you have to remember that they are children and they will at times drive you crazy. You will need patience and consistency to deal with challenging behavior. You will need to follow the lead of your host family as far as discipline goes. Your family may approach the issue of behavior differently than that of your own family. There are significant cultural differences that affect the behavior of children in different countries, so keep an open mind and don't expect your host family's parents and children to behave in the same way as your own native country. Set a good example as a big brother or big sister. Offer rewards and privileges to the kids for good behavior, and prepare yourself for some frustrating moments. If you are thinking you will always be dealing with the smiling little angels in the family profile pictures, you'll be in for a shock. Family needs au pairs that make their lives easier, not harder. Whilst they really need you to have a good time, it may sometimes seem to you that your host family is not interested in you. Most cases, this is not true. They are simply too busy with the demands of their family life. You'll need to remember that most parents work or are busy, and that's why you are there, so they don't have time to be a tour guide. However, most host families will go out of their way to show you the local attractions and include you on family outings, so enjoy. Whilst all families talk about you being part of the family, you will need to work hard and show love to the kids to earn this. It doesn't happen the minute you walk in the door. It takes time to create real relationships with your host family members. Remember, families are paying you. You are not an exchange student, so they will expect you to earn your keep. Some au pairs are disappointed that it feels like a work relationship with contacts and task sheets. But hosting an au pair is not cheap, and families need to know it is a worthwhile investment. Families pay a substantial amount of the family wage to their au pair, so they will have expectations that you will need to meet. If you don't feel the expectations are fair, have a chat with the family or your agency. Now that you have heard everything that an au pair involves and doesn't involve, you should remember most importantly that you are a teacher socially and emotionally, and their role model. Come prepared with reading, art, sports, and other fun activities that you can do with kids. Sharing parts of your own culture is a real benefit too. Is there a great song or story or tradition from your country that you can teach the kids? As an au pair, you will need a toolkit of child care strategies and creatives, fun activities. Just being able to be creative and fun when caring for kids is essential. Parents will want you to restrict TV and computer time and instead get outside to play or do an educational activity indoors on rainy days. Helping with kids' homework is another task you may be asked to do. Does this sound like you? If you answered yes, let's continue.